I'm Stephanie Cole and I'm obsessed with Married at First Sight and consuming every rumour to ever exist about any contestant.
I'm Monique Hammond and I'm obsessed with throwing clay. This is Modern Adult, the podcast where we explore the modern adult landscape and ask dumb questions about adulthood so that you don't have to.
We really have no dignity. Coming up in the episode, we're talking about the pros, the cons, successes and failures of online dating. Where does one date in this modern Tinder world?
But first, more reasons why Married at First Sight is a dumb show and how damaging language can be, especially around sexuality.
So from my intro in this episode, you'll guess that I am a very big Married at First Sight fan. It is just straight fire trash and I love every second of it. But this week or last week, now that you're listening to this podcast, there was something that pissed me off a little bit. And just a disclaimer, I identify as a big old lesbian. And in this episode in particular, one of the contestants, Lauren Huntriss, used the phrase, "I used to be a lesbian," and it kind of pissed me off. Like, just stating the obvious, this language kind of heavily implies that being a lesbian is a choice, which is really bullshit, and it's a really damaging stereotype. Did you watch this episode?
Of course I didn't watch this episode. I don't watch Married at First Sight. I do watch a lot of trash, so I shouldn't rag on trash TV in general, but not Married at First Sight. But I did sort of, like in this episode, research what she said, and I agree that it's a really sort of stupid thing to say, I guess. Sorry, is saying someone's stupid damaging? But anyway, like, I do think it's not a correct thing to say. I think you don't grow out of being a lesbian. It's not just a phase. You don't move on. Like, maybe you are not a lesbian or bisexual and you experimented with women, and that's fine to say, but that's not the same as I used to be a lesbian.
The thing that struck me about it was that it felt like she was almost apologizing for wanting to or have had experiences with women. And I think for a lot of lesbian women, myself especially, you often use, I don't want to say identifying as bisexual as kind of a safety net, but it often is. And I know for myself, it was kind of the stepping stone for me to kind of embracing who I was. And that wasn't that I didn't accept the bisexual side of me. It was just I didn't know who I was or what I wanted. And I think it's really hard for a lot of women to come to terms with who they are. And the way she spoke about it made me think that she was trying to kind of make him feel better rather than herself. Because it was kind of like, when I identified as bisexual, it was very like, oh, I like women too, but don't worry, I could end up with a man. It's very apologetic language, and I think it's really damaging. But I do understand it comes from a place of not fully embracing who you are, you know?
Yeah, but I do just, on that note, want to point out that bisexuality is still a thing, and just because...
Oh, yes, definitely.
Because bisexuality does tend to be, people say, like, I'm bisexual, and everyone's like, oh, you're either a straight person playing or you're a lesbian who hasn't come out fully, and, like, that can sometimes be the case. This is the case with Lauren on Married at First Sight. She might have just been a straight person playing. But, you know, bisexuality is still... It's still a thing.
Yeah, I know you. Do you want to come out to the listeners?
Yeah, no, this is not a secret. Like, I am bisexual. I've dated men and women. I've been with a man for 4 years coming up soon. Hey, babe. So, like, and I think it's not something I tend to talk about, I guess, just because I think when you're in a relationship with someone of a certain gender, they're like, oh, you've picked now. Like, it doesn't matter if you're bisexual or not because you were the man. And it's like, okay, cool. Well, in that case, I guess, you know, the plebiscite doesn't worry me and like all that jazz. Like, and that's just not true.
Yeah. How do you feel since being in a relationship with a man? Do you feel like your bisexuality is slightly erased a little bit.
Completely. Like, I remember when the plebiscite was happening, people did say like, oh, well, it doesn't affect you. And I'm like, it doesn't affect me because I'm currently with a man, but like, not that we are going to break up, but like, if we did break up and I did end up with a woman, like, it would affect me. And it does affect me because like, even though I'm not super in that community, like, they are still my community. So
yeah, so it really deeply affects your identity.
it does.
I think.
Yeah, it does. It does affect my identity, but also it's not something that comes up much. And also, like, I understand that it's a really great privilege to be straight passing when, like, people are saying bullshit and you don't have to, like, defend yourself because no one knows. So that's handy.
I mean, you still went through those experiences that a lot of us go through, those really hard kind of teenage years, coming to terms with who you are and that you're attracted to women and what does that mean. And you probably went through a stage being like, oh, am I gay? What does this mean? And those are really, really hard times in someone's life, whereas a straight person can't relate to any of that. So on that level, you are a part of the community, and that's how it really connects to your identity, I think.
And I do think, like, I did go through that where I was like, maybe I am gay. But then I was like, oh, no. And, like, that's the thing, is because, like, especially when you're a teenager, people are like, you're just straight, you'll grow out of it. But then if you're like, no, I'm a lesbian, they're like, oh, cool. And you're like, wait, no, I'm not. Hang on, back to men. And they're like, oh, so you're straight. And you're like, wait, no, back again. So
I really think that being bisexual is probably the hardest sexuality to come to terms with, almost, because you probably do feel this weird flop because of what your identity is. Yes, you are attracted to men, but you're also attracted to women, and you keep going back and forth, and you're not too sure where you want to be. And I think that maybe
everywhere.
Which is why I think bisexuality gets bad rap, because a lot of people don't find who they are in that process where they feel comfortable telling the world that they are into both people, or both genders, I mean.
Yeah. And I just do think, like, especially being in a serious relationship, it is very much like, well, you've made up your mind, and it's like, no, still not how it works.
How does it affect your relationship now, though?
It doesn't. Like, I mean, in the beginning, just doesn't. I take the same view on cheating that I guess any straight or gay person would in that. Yeah. Because I think for some reason people think, like, if you're bisexual with a man, you're going to go cheat with a woman, or vice versa. Yeah. So that's like, oh, what if you leave me for a woman? And it's like, no, I'm equally likely to leave you as a man for a woman. Yeah. Not that I would do either, just saying. But, like, it doesn't ever come up. I don't feel the need to sleep with anyone of any other gender.
Yeah, that cheating argument makes me really angry when I hear it. Like, do you get that a lot when people...
I mean, I don't get it a lot because I don't tend to, like, talk about it. But some people are like, oh, don't you miss women? And I'm like, I don't miss other people of any gender. Yeah. So it has nothing to do with men and women. It just has to do with the fact that I love my partner and I don't want anyone apart from him.
Yeah, so, I mean, it's just, everyone is just people.
I know, it's so dumb.
People put too much emphasis on gender, I think.
They do, yeah. And I just, like, obviously men and women are very different, but I don't, like, view dating them as particularly different. Like, I do think for women it's easier to end up with men because when you, like, see 10 guys, you're like, probably 9 of them are straight. But when you see 10 women, you're like, I don't know how many of you are straight, so I don't know who to hit on. So I'm just going to hit on the men because I'm probably going to have more luck there. Yeah. So that's why I've tended to end up more with men than women, just because it is easier. But yeah,
I agree. I think to date women, you definitely have to go online.
Yeah, you've definitely got to try harder to date women.
Yeah, which I think brings us into our next topic, online dating. Rack city bitch, rack city bitch, 10, 10, 20 on your titties, bitch.
Steph's really white, just for anyone who doesn't know. After that thrilling intro, what are your savings goals from the last episode?
So I still haven't really worked out what my savings goals are in particular. I still think I'm in that space where I'm not sure what I want, so I don't know what I should be putting towards. But I think what I've taken away from it was to be smarter with my money. So future me doesn't resent past me for blowing all my money. So I am going to start a bit of automation, have different accounts set up, one for my bills, my groceries, my savings, and yeah, I'm just going to set up an account for everything, really. I'm just going to make Kate do it.
Do you not pay account maintenance fees? Because that's the only reason I don't have 100 accounts is that I'd have to pay like $5 per month per account. Maybe I need a different bank.
I think maybe I should look free ones. I think ING is free.
See, my dad read The Barefoot Investor and now he's with ING. Is Kate with ING?
Yeah. No, she's not.
Damn, that ruined that.
What are your saving goals then?
Okay, so I'm going to use the Monify app to see where all my money's going because I think I'd probably be horrified if I knew how much I was spending on certain things. So that's going to be my first step to sort of see where my money is actually going. I'm actually going to start sending reminders for bills because I'm always surprised when like money comes out of my account that I didn't expect. I'm like, oh my God, where did the $100 go? And then after I've done the Monify app, I'm going to see how much I should be putting into savings and I'm going to commit to a solid percentage and always put that into savings. But my problem is I can get things out of my savings, so maybe I need to
need to lock that down. So that's our savings goals at the moment. We're going to be checking in periodically where we're at, and maybe you can send us where you're at and we can do this together.
Yes, please, someone do this with us.
Rack City, bitch. I don't know the rest of the words.
This is actually not an appropriate song for this segment, but we've done it anyway.
Everyone dates so differently now. Tinder has made everything really weird. No one knows what to do, especially me, who entered the dating game for the first time 2 years ago, and I was on WikiHow looking up how to date, but joke's on all of you because I have the most beautiful girlfriend in the whole world. I just want to
say how lucky you are. Again, I'm sure I said this last time, to have found Kate because fucking WikiHow.
So I actually met my girlfriend online, and I think we mentioned in the previous topic that for women, especially dating other women, it's easier to meet other women online, like Tinder, where I met my girlfriend.
Did you meet her on Tinder or specifically an app for women meeting women like her?
Yeah, so I was on her and Tinder, and actually we matched on both apps because we're the worst.
You are the worst.
No. So we matched on Tinder first, started speaking there, and after a few days I got a notification on her being like, Kate wants to match with you here too. And I was like, okay. And then I found out after that Kate was like making sure I saw her. No, but what I wanted to get into today was I received a message from my friend yesterday saying that the way dating is now is just so different. She was dating her current boyfriend for 10 months very casually and randomly confessed their love to each other, and then nothing was confirmed after that, and then they kind of just fell into a relationship. Whereas me and Kate, we had very intense communication from the beginning. We needed to know what we were, where we were going, every step of the way.
When she sort of first got with her partner, was it more of a casual thing though? Because I think sometimes when you're on certain dating websites like Tinder, there is sometimes, and not always, an implication that it's more of a casual thing, that maybe you sleep together for a bit, and then maybe if you like sleeping together, you go on a few dates, rather than if you're on a different dating website like OkCupid or something, that it's more of an implication that you want to go on a couple of dates.
Tinder, I suppose, kind of sets up the expectations that it's slightly more casual.
Yeah.
And that's why I think me and Kate had really intense communication about that from the beginning, because I know she was looking for a relationship.
Yeah.
And at the time, I don't think I was necessarily looking for a relationship. It kind of just went that way because I was just out of a relationship at the time. But then you can't help who you fall in love with, guys. But how did you meet Jamie? Was it under a different pretense?
What? No. So Jamie and I met on OkCupid, and so as it a bit about my dating history, everyone that wants to know this. So I've been on Tinder a few times, and I didn't enjoy Tinder. I thought it was a bit of bullshit because I mean, like, I get that it's for hooking up, but I'd still say to people like, hi, let's go out for coffee, and then if I like you, we'll keep talking, and then we'll go for coffee. And I'm like, let's do this again. And they're like, all right, wanna fuck? And I'm like, no, no thanks. Don't want to. So I found that really awkward that, like, even though you try and be clear and upfront that you don't want to just jump into bed, people were still like, but you're on Tinder, so you want to jump into bed. And you're like, no. So anyway, so I went to OkCupid because I found that was less like jump into beddy.
I found those websites had really, really intense questionnaires, and I just got
I loved
bored.
The questionnaires. I would love for people to match with me via an algorithm for like everything. Like, do you want to be my friend? Fill out this questionnaire and I'll fill out mine and we'll match.
Actually, like, I really like that idea. I want there to be a dating app, but just for friendship.
Yeah. And I found it really good because I could like really like, we're going to touch on this later about lying on your online dating profile, but I felt like I could screen people in a way that I couldn't do on Tinder, and especially because I wasn't looking just to hook up. So like if someone messaged me, I could go on their profile and see that they had 3 kids, and I was like, no, you know, like, so that made everything.
Wait, have you dated anyone with kids?
No, fuck no. I'm so sorry for all the people with kids out there, but I have no interest in becoming a parent until I'm at least 50, so...
Oh, I've already tried to convince Kate that we're having a baby next year.
My God, don't do that. That's a terrible idea, Stephanie.
I want 4 babies, and Kate's making me settle for 3.
I want 0, but I'm probably going to settle with 1.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, it's not that I don't want to date you if you have kids. I know dating as a single parent is really hard, and I'm so sorry if I've offended you, but I just don't want to date a single parent. I don't think I would like a child if they were mine. So pretty sure I'm not going to like them if they're not mine. Anyway, moving on. So I could screen people, or like maybe for something less controversial, I could screen people who were smokers and I didn't want to date smokers, or I could screen people who are heavy drug users because I don't want to date anyone who's a heavy drug user. Like, so I felt like the screening aspect was better. And I met Jamie, on OkCupid. And I found actually a few people from OkCupid, but not really many people from OkCupid were like, send nudes. So that was nice.
How was your kind of dating journey together though? Take me to the beginning and then to now. Like, I want to know everything.
God. So in the beginning, we like talked a lot online. And then we met up pretty quickly and we had a first date that was supposed to be for coffee. And I was like, I've got to leave after an hour because I didn't know if he was going to be weird. So I was like, I can only stay for like a limited amount of time, so I have a good excuse to leave.
I feel like people know you're giving yourself an out.
Yeah, because like I don't want to be trapped there for an endless amount of time. But anyway, we went to get coffee and we had coffee and then we had lunch and then we had drinks and then it was like nighttime. So we both went home.
How long were you talking online for before you met?
Not that long. Maybe like a week or 2 weeks. I don't know. I don't want to waste my time online for weeks and weeks and never meet in person. Like, I had an experience when I was younger where like this guy and I had been talking for ages and then we met in person and I was like, nope. So I don't want to waste ages talking to you online only to meet in person and say no.
Did you find it hard to end it with the other person you were speaking to online for ages with?
Oh, yeah. Like, I just never spoke to him again. No, I did. I was just kind of like, hey, it was really good to meet you, but let's not ever speak again. And we didn't.
Kate was really into, as well, not wasting her time. So she... like, I think it was after 3 or 4 days, it's like, do you want to meet up? And I was like, oh, yeah, sure. And I think she really helped me become better at dating just because I'm very just like, oh, we'll see what happens. And she's very like, I need to know everything and I need to know where you're at so I'm not wasting my time. And that kind of taught me to be better at not wasting other people's time. And now if I was like, God forbid, to date again, I would definitely be more.
I think that's the thing is like, I don't want to waste anyone's time online and I don't want anyone to waste my time. But I think because it is online, sometimes you've never met these people. It is easier to just be like, oh yeah, like we'll meet tomorrow, but now I'm busy and I can't meet, and like just kind of string them on forever because you're a bit scared or you're just looking for attention or like all that jazz. So I didn't participate in that nonsense. If people were like, oh, now let's keep talking for a while, I was like, nah, I don't want to. Like, we've been talking for a week and like, I don't want to keep talking to you if we're never going to meet in person. Like, I don't want to have a fully online relationship, or else I would have set my range to Tunisia. Like,
So how would you advise someone who was like me 2 years ago, who had never really dated at all and was just entering this new world where it's very different to their parents, and how would you kind of advise them to proceed? Would you advise them to do more casual dating, or would you advise them to be like very intense with communication, which I know could turn someone off, but maybe the right person?
It depends what you want. I've dated quite a bit casually, so I've gone on like I'm not like Sex in the City like level of random first dates, but like, you know, like I've been on a few dates with a lot of people, and you know, maybe been on 3 or 4 dates and said like, this was great, let's not keep dating, you know. So I found that was really beneficial to work out like what I did want in a person, because I didn't just talk to the first person who messaged me. Like, I really made sure that they matched up with like what I wanted. So I think casual dating is a good thing, because it like lets you know, like, this is what I do want, this is what I don't want. Like, that's how I was like, I'll never ever date someone who smokes, because I already know I hate it. So
yeah,
I think that's good. But also it depends what you want. If you want just like commitment, then just talk. I think you need to be upfront about that. Like, I was always upfront when people were like, what are you looking for? And I'm like, I'm not looking for casual stuff. I'm looking to get to know you. And then if I like you, we'll keep dating. And if you like me as well, obviously.
Yeah.
But if it's not a match, like, I don't want to just have a fling. Like, that's not what I'm here for.
I think it's really hard to date someone who is new to dating. If I was dating me, I would hate that.
I agree.
Just because it took me to knowing who Kate is and how her approach to dating is to kind of teach me how to be better at dating. And it's horrible to say, but you honestly do have to have a few failures to know how to treat somebody right.
Yeah, and I agree. I mean, I'm sure there are people out there who marry their first partner, and that's all well and good. But like, I know that if I had married my first partner, I wouldn't be a very good partner to them.
No, you'd be miserable as well.
And I just, like, I look back at all my like serious relationships, and I think like, oh, okay, well, I learned that I do this in a relationship, and if I'm going to be in a relationship again, then I want to change that. Or my partner did this, and I'm going to look for someone who does something different when that comes up, you know?
Yeah.
So like, I think like I've learned a lot from experience about like what I do and don't want in a partner, and how I behave in a relationship, and how I think I should change my behavior.
I mean, different partners teach you different things, and going forward you have a clearer understanding of what you want. I mean, that loss kind of triggers it in you that, okay, going forward, I don't want to be that person in a relationship, and this is what I want out of somebody else in a relationship, and I don't want to waste anybody's time, and I don't want someone to waste my time. So just tell me what you want, and let's just try and see if that works for us. So just to sum up that topic, I think that you should really follow what makes you the most comfortable. Don't put yourself in a situation that you're not comfortable with, and don't force yourself to be someone that you're not. Don't settle for something that you don't want.
And don't lie on your dating profile. Like, if you say you're not a smoker and then we get to the date, like, it's pretty fucking clear you're a smoker, and then I think you're an arsehole. And also, don't message anyone. Don't say your age is like 32 and then message and be like, I'm actually 44 XX, and you're just like, no, fuck off. If I wanted a 44-year-old, I would have set my age range to 44. You're not 44. You're not 32. Anyway, don't lie. Just don't lie. Just be yourself, and just don't be a piece of shit.
And follow your heart.
Yes, but mostly don't lie about your age on Tinder. It's just really dumb and makes you look desperate. That's it for today's episode. You've been listening to Modern Adult. If you'd like to stay in contact or share your thoughts about the episode, head to our Facebook page, Modern Adult Podcast. If you like what you hear, please leave a review on your preferred podcasting platform and spread the word. Have a party, sit around leaving us beautiful reviews that make us feel insightful and magnificent.